Okay, so we are going to get started here. So in front of you, you should have your lesson right there, okay? And just put it right here. That's fine. And then, so make sure you write your name on your homework. Make sure you write your name. So let's get started. You should have your reading comprehension lesson right in front of you. And we're gonna talk about reading comprehension here. How many of you guys like or dislike reading comprehension? Let's like. You guys, so a lot of people like it. Who doesn't like it? You people here don't like it. Let's hear from the people who don't like it. Mia, your hand was very.
I can't comprehend anything.
Okay, humility there, humility, very good. Zoe, you don't like it either. Is it? What's confusing about it?
If you read really fast.
Okay. So reading fast is a hard thing to do, right? Because on the HSPT, you have very limited time. On the SSAT, for those of you who started taking it, you have a reasonable amount of time. It's 40 minutes, 40 questions. HSPT, you are jamming through that, okay? So that's something that can be very challenging for a lot of us, right? This is what I'm going to say. For a lot of people, anyone want to share their technique? Actually, I wanted to ask that now. Jack, what do you do?
If I have no more time, just double randomly.
Okay, but when you do have time, what do you do?
Try.
Okay, that's good. Anyone else want to share their technique here? Cindy, you want to share yours? Not really? Okay. Akiko? Okay. So let's talk about this for a second. A lot of people, when they do reading comprehension, they read the passage, they look at the questions, and then they go straight to the answers. Okay? I don't want you guys to go straight to the answers. I don't know if you guys have figured that out by now. A little bit? Okay, does anybody know why I don't want you to go straight to the answers? Not yet?
I know, but I don't feel like explaining it.
There's only one reason. Because on the HSPT, there are 4 answers. 3 of them are wrong, okay? SSAT, there are 5 answers. 4 of them are wrong. When we do reading comprehension, the answers all sound pretty intelligent. So the problem is that when you read it, you're kind of saying to yourself, huh, this sounds pretty good on A. Let me read B, see if it's better. And then they read B, and they're like, B sounds pretty intelligent too, but I don't really know. And then they go to C, and they go, C sounds pretty good, but I don't know. And you have this I don't know mentality in your head, right? What's really happening is you're comparing wrong answers versus wrong answers, okay? So we don't want to do that, because when you compare wrong versus wrong, what happens is you get more confused, and then you're kind of like, I don't really know, I got to choose something, this sounds the best of what I have here. What it feels like is you're putting like a square block into a round hole, and you're trying to jam it in there. You're like, I know it doesn't fit, but I'm going to jam this in there because I want to do this, okay? That's what happens for a lot of us. How many guys would say that's what ends up happening through reading comprehension? Some of you? Okay. I can tell by the smile. Some people are like, yes, that's exactly what I think. Some of you guys are like, not really. Okay. So this is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about critical reading. Okay. The first step, as you guys can see on this page right here, 42, read the passage critically. Okay. What does that mean? That means you're asking yourself one big question. Why did the author write this passage? You're trying to get down to the primary purpose of the passage, okay? Then the second thing you do is you look at the questions, okay? When you look at the questions, our second step says rewrite. I'm not going to have you guys physically rewrite questions. It means rephrase it in your head so that it goes from this formal language of test writer into your language of 8th grader, okay? I understand what this question is saying, okay? The third thing we want to do is go back to the passage and look for the answer. How many of you guys go back to the passage? That's pretty good. You guys are pretty humble. No one here thinks they have photographic memory, okay? Some people are like, I never go back to the passage. I go straight to the answers because, like, I don't want to waste time and I know it already, okay? If that is true, you probably have that Google Glass that you stick in your eye and that memory card that you stick in the back of your head that gives you photographic memory. You can get it out of Best Buy. No, it doesn't exist, okay? Most people do not have photographic memory, okay? And that's why we got to go back to the passage, okay? Next part is when you look at the passage, you're going to find the answer there. You've got to find the key word. You've got to find the line number that they send you to, and you've got to find what that is that they're asking about, okay? And then put it in your head. You're like, oh, okay, I know what this word means, right? By then, you have basically pre-phrased an answer. Your last step is you're going to go back to the answer choices and you're going to go, let's look at answer A. And you're going to say yes, no, or maybe. You're going to go, no. You're going to aim for no, okay? Why are we aiming for no? Because we want to cut out all the answer choices that don't fit what you just thought of, okay? So you're going to say no. And then finally, you're going to find an answer choice that matches what you say. It's not going to be word for word, okay? The big difference between these standardized tests and the stuff you do at school is the answers don't come out word for word. They're going to be rephrased in a different way. So that's kind of what we got to get used to. So I want you to turn the page. Everyone turn the page. And you can see a passage there on the left on page 43, which I want you to read. And on page 44, you're going to see page 44, you're going to see a part that says paragraph 1, paragraph 2, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And what I want you to do is take really brief notes. Don't rewrite the passage. Just write a few things that are important about each paragraph. So do that for a few minutes quietly. Okay? Okay, I know that some of you guys are still writing notes, but we need to get back into it. Some people still look like they are writing a full novel. So we don't want to write a full novel. If you have 3 sentences per paragraph, that's too much. If you have 2 sentences per paragraph, that's too much. It should be 1 sentence or less. Some people look like they're writing novels. Cindy looks like she could write a novel there.
I just kind of.
Okay. All right, so let's get back into this here. How many of you guys, let's talk about this passage for a second. On a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being difficult, 1 being easy, how many of you guys would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? So 4 meaning difficult, rather difficult. Not your everyday reading here. For some of you guys, you're like, dude, if it's like longer than 140 characters, like Twitter, it's too long for me, right? They're like, dude, I can't believe like Twitter now expanded to 280 characters. That's like way too long. Okay. For some people, that might be, that's my SoCal surfer accent. So, but anyways, 140 characters for most of you young people. Like, some of you guys are like, I don't even read characters, dude. It's just Instagram. If it's photos, it's all good. Okay. So let's get into this. Let's talk about this paragraph by paragraph. Who wants to tell me what's the most important thing about paragraph 1? Jack?
I said that the purpose was to explain what the, I guess, sweet track was.
For paragraph 1?
Yeah.
So it introduces sweet track. Okay, anything else?
That's all I wrote.
Okay. Akiko, did you have something?
I wrote that it was the oldest one.
Oldest road, true. Okay. Donna? Okay, let's add all these 3 together. So 1, intro. Okay, so this is a lot shorter than what I've seen some of you guys write. I saw novels coming out, okay? How many of you guys wrote something completely different here and said, I didn't even write that. I was writing about something else. Nobody? Okay, good. All right, what about paragraph 2? Who wants to tell me what they wrote for paragraph 2? Let's hear new voices. Jason? Okay, the design. Is it just the design here? Like how they built it, right? Okay, design, okay. Anybody else want to add to what Jason said here? Okay, let's put that up here. Okay, and is this a lot shorter than what some of you guys wrote? A little bit, okay. It's longer? Okay, good. How about paragraph 3? Cindy, you wrote a novel. I need to give you credit for it. So why don't you tell us what you wrote for paragraph 3?
They use they chop down trees to use for the material.
Okay, chop down trees. Okay. Anybody else want to? That's all you wrote? Why don't you read word for word what you wrote for paragraph 3?
I didn't really finish it.
I want to hear the whole thing. You wrote so much in there. You just gave me 3 words. I'm looking at your page and it looks like a novel. So read the whole thing to us.
Supersede, you're going to hear one of the roads. Several different species of trees had to be felled far from the sky.
Okay. So how they chop trees, basically. How they collected wood, right? Yes?
So I just wrote explain construction. That's literally 2 words. Because that's pretty much what they did. They explained like the construction, and it was sort of design again, but mainly.
I want to go back on paragraph 2 in a second. I'm going to use what Cindy gave us with how they gathered wood. Design how it was built. there's a little bit more to the second paragraph that I thought was important. Anybody notice anything else important about paragraph 2? How about Mia? You look like you wrote a novel. Oh no, Sydney. Sydney wrote a novel. So
I didn't write sentences. I wrote like.
Okay, let's do it. Paragraph 2. I want more. Yeah, 2. Yeah, what did you write? I just want to see your novel. I want to hear your novel.
I just described how it was built.
Okay. All right, let's just keep it at that. You guys remember? Victor, did you have something else that you wanted to add? I like that too. That's important too. Okay. Let's go to paragraph 4. James, you want to tell us what you said?
It talks about some observation facts about the food track.
Observations? That's pretty general there. Okay. Zoe? Organized and quick. Okay, builders. Anybody want to add to that, Jack?
I said it talks about socioeconomics.
Does it talk about socioeconomics?
Sorta. I mean, they say a high level of social organization among its builders, and then they also say orchestrated in the first place, hence at a complex social structure.
Yeah, but what is socioeconomics?
I guess that's money too.
Socioeconomics means some of them came from wealthy backgrounds, some came from middle class, some from lower income,
Yeah,
and then there are different races and different genders, and that's not part of this. So it's not. Okay. All right. What about paragraph 5? Who wants to give me paragraph 5 here? Donna? They cared about their land. Does it say the word cared about? Okay, I'm not sure if that's true. Okay, Delaney.
What I wrote was this paragraph kind of was writing about why they needed it. It was saying it appears that the road was built to serve as a footpath linking 2 islands.
Okay, so it served as a footpath. Okay. Anything else, Victor? Devoted to what? Land cultivation. Okay, what does that mean? Okay, Jack?
Like using the land like a cultivator, like turns through the land. It's like a farm thing.
Farm thing?
Yeah.
One of them farm.
It like has a,
It's one of them farm things. You know what I'm talking about? Like, if you ain't from a farm, you just know what I'm talking about. It's a farm thing. No? Okay.
Well, cultivating is like farming the land. Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
Cultivating. Catherine, did you have one or not?
I just said like the islands provided timber, pastures, and pastures, and they talked about the quality of pegs and the method, which is compressing.
Okay, so let's put in here number 5 here. Served as connection between islands, and then use those. Okay, so I put in just phrases here. Probably could have shortened this: connection between islands and use pegs and land cultivation. Just putting in key phrases. That's all we're trying to do here. If you ended up writing a novel, running out of space, then you wrote too much. That's what I'm going to say here. Okay. So what about the final paragraph here? Number 6. Jack?
I wrote one word in conclusion.
What was it?
Conclusion.
Oh, conclusion. That's too general there.
Yeah.
You might as well have written beginning, middle, 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 ending.
Yeah.
Okay, did someone else want to, Catherine?
I said it was summarizing the high levels of engineering skill and social organization. And they're also like saying how it was a single isolated community, and it's part of the neolithic community.
What did that mean? Single isolated community.
Like it was like not linked to others.
That's not what they're saying.
Okay, I don't know.
Okay, that's not what they're saying. That's not like they're far in a far land in galaxies far away. The Neolithic. No, sorry, that's not what they're saying. Did someone else? You know what I was trying to paraphrase there? What was that? Mia? Star Wars. Yes, that's not what it was. Okay. Yeah. Let's continue here. I like what Catherine said. I don't want to take away from it. She did say some good things here. Let me add. I was just joking at the end, but she said some key things there. She said that this ending paragraph talks about these people's accomplishments in creating SweetTrack and their advanced technology and their social organization. It talks about those things. I only asked her about the isolated community part because I wanted to see if people understood that. I'm going to write the first three things that she said, but can someone tell me what the isolated community thing was all about? Jack?
I assume that it means you're in the middle of nowhere.
That's what she said earlier. That's why I was joking about space in a galaxy far. No, okay, that's not what they're saying. Delaney?
Maybe it was because when you show why they were big,
Not really. Okay, does someone want to read that again for me? Read it out loud for me. James, you want to read that final last two sentences?
While studying, we must review and inspect the high levels of engineering skill and social organization. It must be reminded that the SweetTrack represents the work of the isolated community. One must be careful not to extrapolate the sweeping generalizations from the achievements of such a small sample of the community.
Okay, does anyone get a different feel for this passage? Sydney? From just that, did you reread it? Huh? Dude, I was like, I was what? Okay, so the last line here, what, yeah, Donna? Right. So what they're saying is these are accomplishments of one community, an isolated community, not all of them. So that's kind of like saying, if the Golden State Warriors win, do you think people in Los Angeles cheered for them?
Yes, bandwagon.
No, they didn't. They don't. Los Angeles has two teams. They got the Lakers, they got the Clippers. They don't care about the Warriors, okay? They don't care about the Warriors. So what I'm trying to say here is the accomplishment of that community in SweetTrack was their accomplishment, and we can't assume that all the surrounding people who were of that Neolithic era had the same type of advanced technology and social organization. That's what they're trying to say. So isolated achievement. Okay, that's what they're trying to say. Thank you for that explanation, Don. If we're to give this an overall purpose, what is the overall purpose here?
To talk about the SweetTrack.
To talk about SweetTrack, to inform you, okay? Anything deeper than that? I think that's half right to talk about SweetTrack, but I think it's more than that. Delaney?
Well, yeah, just right, but show how people that live in that area live
And stuff like that, you know.
how they live.
You know, some like stuff, you know, you feeling it? You know, I know what you said.
Well,
Right. All right, so, yes, Jack?
Another thing is like maybe to talk about a community that they just used the sweet track as an example of like the community, since they touched on the land cultivation, the way they cut trees, and yeah.
Okay, good.
The geography sort of.
Two things that we're focused on here, not just the road that was built, Sweet Track, but also the people who built it and their achievements. So that's what I would say, to describe Sweet Track and the people who built it. Okay, that's the main purpose here.
One boy.
Okay, guys. So do me a favor. Okay, so let's continue here. Before we continue, at the bottom of this page, you can see where it says question types, and you can see 5 types of questions that are in bold. And the reason why they're in bold is that there are 5 classic question types, and we're going to learn the structure of the wording as well as answer choices that test writers typically use. And what we're going to do is learn how to approach it differently. Okay, so we'll be able to identify the wording to the questions and then the approach in answering, and then also identify how to identify wrong answers. Okay, so below you can see it says global, detail, vocabulary and context, tone and style, and inference. These may not sound familiar to you, but we're gonna deal with them so that they will become familiar. Okay. All right. So it should say at the bottom of the page.
24.
Oh, they're not in bold. They're not in bold. They're just in regular type. Sorry, I thought they were in bold. But you can see that they talk about global, detail, vocabulary and context, tone and style, and then finally inference. So let's actually turn the page here and turn the page. Let's have Sydney read this first question for us. It should be the global question, at the global. Okay, don't read anymore. What I want you guys to focus here is we shouldn't just jump to the answer choices. We should think about what this question is really asking. We spent a few minutes discussing this passage and talking about what's important in each of the paragraphs. So now that we've done that, we came to our own conclusion of what is the primary purpose. They're basically asking you, why did the author write this passage? Okay. Other ways that they might phrase this question would be, what is the main idea, or what is the primary purpose, or what is the overall purpose? They may use that kind of wording. I would write that down just so you'll remember the wording. Okay, so that your eyes will see that and you'll say, global question. Yes, Jack?
How are we going to apply all, I guess,
the steps? We've already done these by discussing.
I know, but like, if with the time we have, how do we have
This is, okay, it's going to become more of a natural reaction than in a formal steps, that we're doing right here. But I'm just introducing it right now so that we can understand what we're doing. In our discussion, we came down to what the primary purpose was, to describe Sweet Track and the people who built it. Okay, I kept it really simple because that's typically how you're going to do that during a test. There's not going to be a bunch of people sitting around and you're going to talk about it, discuss each paragraph and stuff. But you're going to read that passage, you're going to say to yourself, okay, what is the primary purpose? What am I trying to get to? Okay, so that's really what you want to do. So we kind of came up with this. What I want to do now is I want to go to the answer choices because we've already formulated it, and I want each person who reads it to say either yes, no, or maybe. Okay? So Zoe, can you read answer A for us and tell us yes, no, or maybe? What are you reading? What question are you reading? You're on the wrong page. Okay, let's go to Cindy. Inhibited? Exhibited.
By earlier cultures.
Okay, do you understand what that sentence means? Not really?
Like earlier cultures, like they have like higher organization.
Okay. Victor, do you want to tell us what you think that A means? Okay. Jack, you know, I don't. Does anyone have an explanation for answer A? So what this is saying, okay, before you guys go through the answer choices, just thinking that you have an answer, this answer is saying social organization skills exhibited by all of the people during that Neolithic time. Is that what this passage says?
No.
Do I get it? It's a no. Why is it a no?
Talking about earlier cultures and not the Neolithic time.
Not exactly that. The reason why it's no is because it's the only culture that this passage says is advanced is just the one at Sweet Track. It's not talking about all Neolithic people. It's only talking about the Sweet Track people. Okay, that's why it's wrong. Do you guys see that now? Okay, so that's a no. Mia, read B for us.
The complex construction and composition.
Yes, no, or maybe?
Yes.
Okay, that one's only half right. You know why? No, that's not the reason. But the reason why this is only half right is because it doesn't even mention the people. It only talks about complex construction, and composition, but it really doesn't talk about the people at all. That's only about the bridge. We said to describe Sweet Track and the people who built it, right? So that answer choice is only half right. Okay. How about the next one, Delaney?
Wait, see.
What do you mean? Are you following us?
Yeah.
Then you should know.
Didn't she just read B?
She read C.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. Oh, boy. That's what I used that. Okay.
Come on, Matthew.
The survival of the Sweet Track over 6,000 years.
Yes, no, or maybe?
No.
Okay, tell us why.
Because she said, without grief, it doesn't talk about the people.
Yeah, well, the survival of Sweet Track is mentioned in paragraph 1 and is never mentioned again. Okay? So if you guys are wondering about this, if you Google it and you write Sweet Track, you can see what it looks like. They still have pictures of it from, it's like a national park in England now, so. Yes, question?
When you said Sweet Track, I thought it was like Candyland or something.
Yeah,
No.
like Candyland.
No, not exactly. Okay,
What's that?
so let's continue here. So it's not C here. Let's go to D. Catherine, you want to read that?
Ways in which the Sweet Track reveals aspects of particularly Neolithic society.
That's your best answer. I know some of you guys read that and you're like, that sounds kind of general, but it does reveal particular aspects. We talked about social organization, we talked about advanced technology, and a particular Neolithic society. It's the Sweet Track community. So one thing I'm going to say about these answer choices, in terms of wrong answer choices, some of them were too narrow, some of them were too broad and applied to too many people. When it's too broad, usually it has words like totally, absolutely, all, everyone. Okay, do you feel that sweeping type of generalization there? And that answer A was cultures with an S, saying all cultures, right? When you see words like all, those are your red flags to say no, okay? Some were too narrow and they didn't include everything. The one about composition was too narrow. Okay, so we want to get used to that kind of language. Let's go to the second question here. Let's have,
What was the right answer?
it was D. Okay, Jason, you want to read the second question here?
the style of patches is most like that family.
Okay, so this one was a little bit open-ended, and it's not one you go back to the passage to find a specific line. So we will have to, this is more of a tone type of question than it is global, but it's more about tone. So you're gonna have to go through each of them and say yes, no, or maybe. Jason, you wanna read these for us? Okay. Okay, so he gives novel maybe. He says no to scientific journal, and he said no to editorial. Yes to history. How many of you guys would say this is what you would choose, history textbook? I would go history textbook because this author spends as much time talking about the people, the Neolithic people of Sweet Track, as he does about their engineering skills and how they made this road. It's not a scientific journal because a scientific journal is typically going to give you experiments and talk about like a hypothesis, experiments, lab results, comparisons. That's not what this is, right? And it's not a newspaper editorial because the newspaper editorial is the back of the newspaper. How many of you guys actually read newspapers here? Real, like, paper newspaper, not online versions. You do, right? If you look at the very last page of a newspaper before you pull to the back side, the last inside flap is the editorial section. How many of you guys have seen that before? And it'll say letters to the
Newspapers.
You've never read. I know this is. I know it's like maybe a generation ago. Back in those days, it's like okay. It's more like your grandparents' generation. Grandparents read newspapers, right? But the second to last page. Listen up, guys. Listen up. Listen up. The second to last page inside of a newspaper is the editorial where they have letters to the editor, and the editor or the editorial staff writes something like, this newspaper endorses Proposition ABC, you should vote for this. That's usually where that's located. You guys are like, if I can click it, then there's no such thing as pages, right? It doesn't, most of your eyes are like, I don't know what a newspaper is. Like, it's just like you click it, and like if you want to read it, you read it, but then watch out for fake news. Right? That's what I noticed about you guys. Because it's like, it's more your grandparents like, well, I read the newspaper every Sunday. I get the newspaper out and I turn the pages. I turn pages, right? Okay, I don't know, that's a grandparent voice. So let's move on. That's enough of the acting from me there. Let's go to the third question here. Let's have Jack read this one about tone. Okay.
The author's tone can best be described as.
Okay, so this is one where we're just going to go straight down to the answers because there's nothing to look up. There's no key words. So you're going to say yes, no, or maybe, Jack. Can you do this?
Yeah, I'm going to say no.
Wait, read the answer choice.
Dubious, no. Enthusiastic, maybe. Condescending, no. Objective, maybe.
Okay, so tell us why you said no first to dubious and to condescending.
Like, dubious, I don't know what it means, but it sounds like dubious, like it sounds sort of like
Those dubious kids.
Yeah, it sounds like sort of, I don't know.
Okay.
It doesn't sound like I know it's enthusiastic.
Does anybody here know what dubious means?
No.
Sydney? Doubtful. Not trustworthy. Correct. Good vocabulary there. Good vocabulary. Condescending. If I does anybody know what condescending is? What is condescending? Not really. Let me tell you. So this is an article about something in England. So I use my fake British accent to sound condescending because British people can sound so uppity. So it's like, oh my goodness, you only use shaman bath tissue. You are so uncultured. Okay? It's talking down. That's what condescending is. Like, oh, you are so uncultured. You don't know about Sweet Track. That's why you use shaman bath tissue. Okay. Anyways, only a British person could make you feel so insecure about what bath tissue you use, okay? So continuing from there, it's not talking down to us. It's not telling us that we're uncultured people, okay? So we're down to enthusiastic and objective. Which one is the better, enthusiastic or objective?
Yes.
Is he like, oh my goodness, you be feeling sweet track, it is off the chain, it is all that and a bag of chips. It is like so hype, it is tremendous, it is like all that. No, he is. Yes, so that is not what he's saying about sweet tracks. That's enthusiastic there, okay? I don't think that's what that is, okay? He's actually objective. Can someone tell me what objective is? Goal it is if it is a noun. It is if it is a noun. But as an adjective, what does objective mean? Zoe? Kind of, but not really. Jack?
He's the point.
What's that?
He has a goal and
That's not a goal. We're not talking about the noun version. I said that a second ago. Objective as an adjective means neutral, unbiased. That's if you said, I don't care if the 49ers or the Raiders succeed, I'm objective. I'm objective, I don't care about either team, I'm neutral. Okay, that's what it would be. Okay. So a neutral person, that's what he is. He's not like trying to convince you like, yo, you hear about sweet track? It is all that. No, he's not. Okay. I don't know anybody who, I don't know if I could do that with an English accent and try to talk with that language. That would be very difficult. I'll have to practice that one. Oh my goodness, do you know about sweet track? It is all that and a bag of chips. Okay, let's continue. Okay, guys. I think it's fun to enact it because I think it brings it to life. But you can see that he was an objective observer, not enthusiastic, even with my British rapper voice. Okay, so let's continue to the next page. You have a question? What's your question?
One is about level 2 or HSPT.
We will get that. Let's continue. I know. Let's continue the next page. Okay, let's go to Akiko on the next page. Okay, so read to us what it says right there for the next one. Detailed questions. Very top.
In line with 19 to 31, the author describes the construction of the sweet track primarily in order to.
Okay, we need to rephrase this question. Some of the questions were very straightforward, right? Like this comes from what type of textbook. Can we rephrase this into our own words? What does this question really mean, Jason?
Select the steps to obtaining the sweet track.
So, kind of. Someone else want to give us a rephrasing of this one? Akiko?
I think it says that, like in this line, it says about construction. I think so, like how why it says it's written there.
That's close, very close. Let me ask this question to make it get more specific. In this question, it says in order to. What does in order to mean in this question? Jack? Borrow from some. I don't have pencils on me, so you could go over there and grab something.
Yeah.
Throw it. The right way.
You should come prepared.
I mean, it fell out of my binder,
So let's continue here. So what does in order to mean? What does in order to mean? This is the most important phrase in this question. If you don't understand in order to, you're not going to know how to answer this question. Okay? Who wants to tell me what in order to means here? Let's hear, Delaney, what would you say? Okay, anybody, okay, Donna? Not exactly. Jason?
I think like to describe.
Not exactly. Jack?
To get or to
To get? You getting it?
No, to achieve.
No,
To achieve.
not exactly. I'm going to tell you guys what in order to means. It means why. I want you guys to write the word why right below the phrase in order to. Underline the phrase in order to, and then write the word why. Okay? So basically, this question is asking, why does the author describe construction from lines 19 to 31? You guys need to go back to line 19 to 31 and figure out what does that mean. So go back to that page.
Naughty James.
19 to 31.
Here.
19 to 31. What are we doing?
Figure out why the author mentions or describes construction.
Alright. It's after the underline.
Look at the
Huh? So what I'm asking you guys is, in your own words, figure out why the author is describing construction. Don't give me an answer choice.
Why not?
Don't give me an answer. Don't give me an answer choice. In your own words, who wants to tell me why does the author mention construction?
Oh, you want to write it?
Let's hear from people. Zoe's had a hand up. Do you know what question we're on now? Yes. Okay, Delaney.
Isn't it because they wanted to show, like, how educated somebody is, like, where they put the person, why it's there.
Okay, so she said, is it to mention why they're smart and they're engineering? Okay, those are pretty good reasons there. If we have that, since Delaney gave us that, I want you to read each answer choice, and I want you to tell us yes, no, or maybe. So read each of them and tell us, does that agree with what you just said? Go ahead.
It's when the usual strength of the structure.
Maybe?
I mean,
Do they talk about strength of the structure in that paragraph?
not really.
No,
So it's
that's a no. Don't be influenced by something sounding intelligent, okay? Next one.
Do you show how it could withstand 6,000 years of clear no?
Doesn't even mention that in that paragraph. The 6,000 years is mentioned in paragraph 1. Okay. Next one, Delaney.
Do you prove that the children cooperating efficiently?
Is it in paragraph 2?
No.
Okay, so you don't have photographic memory. Okay, most of us don't. That's not until paragraph 4. Okay, so Delaney, next one.
Do you indicate exposures advanced level of technological
Expertise, yeah.
sorry.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the best answer. If you look at the first sentence of that paragraph and the last sentence, they talk about advanced technological skills and engineering expertise. So you know that has to be the answer. Okay, D is the best answer right there. Okay, good. So when you're doing detailed questions here, usually they're going to give you a line number or a paragraph number, or else they're going to give you a word that they put in quotation marks. Sometimes the word is not in quotation marks. Sometimes they don't give you a paragraph number, and sometimes they don't give you a line number. That's the worst case scenario. Okay, best case scenario, they're going to give you something, and you're going to go straight to that line number. Okay, that's the easiest thing to do. Okay, read a little bit before it, read a little bit after it, because if you only just read that underlined part, that doesn't mean anything. Okay, let's go to the next question here. Let's have Cindy read the next one.
what the example of woodland management is best described as.
Okay, do you know what woodland management is? Do you know what woodland management is? Because if you don't, they gave us a quote to look for, but if you don't know it with your photographic memory, then go back to the passage and find it.
I raised my hand.
Okay. Photographic memory we do not have. We need to go back to the passage. Can someone tell me where they mentioned woodland management? Can you find it?
No, but it was in the third paragraph. They talked about felling trees and all that stuff.
It's not in the third paragraph.
Oh, then it's not the fourth.
Why don't you go back with your photographic memory? Non-photographic, I mean.
Oh, it's in the fifth.
It's in the fifth paragraph. You're 2 paragraphs away. So, read.
Oh.
Find it in paragraph 5. Jason found it for us. So, Jason, since you found it, do you want to tell us what woodland management means?
Those last sentence of the fifth paragraph.
Last sentence of the 5th paragraph. Does anyone want to tell us what woodland management could mean? Anybody know what it is?
The method of the
Coppicing, I'm not sure how it's pronounced. So what they did, I'm gonna, I'll show it to you guys at the halftime, because we're doing this on live broadcast, so it's kind of, I can't turn my computer around, but I will draw for you guys what coppicing looks like, because you guys are like, I was an artist formerly known as Prince. No, I'm kidding. If you guys don't get that joke. There was a singer named Prince. Okay. Yeah. Okay, let's continue. So let me show you what coppicing is. Because of course on a real test there are no graphics, no photos, but just for the sake of it, I want to show you what it is. So earlier in this passage, it talked about how these people created these bridges, and they used wood which would be like put in an X fashion like this. Okay. So it's kind of like, it looks like that, and then they would use a plank, and it would look like this, and the plank would be what they walk on, okay? So these are to hold the plank above the ground, right? And then they would use these pegs that were growing out of the ground, or else they would stick them there. And if it was a tree or something, they would use it as a stabilizer to hold it all in place. That's what they were doing, okay? But oftentimes they would want to find a tree that is long and narrow that was growing, so that it would continue to grow and be stable, because a tree would, have its roots underground, right? So that's coppicing, okay? How do I know this? The great world of Wikipedia. But anyways, the point is that if you look it up, you'll see photos of Sweet Track and how this was discovered, this coppicing that held it in place, okay? So woodland management, they would do this in a way so that trees would grow and continue to hold it in place. They chopped them so that they would be on either side to hold it, okay? So that's what that is. Now we know what woodland management is, right? Now let's go to the answer choices. Jason, can you read these answer choices and give us a yes, no, or maybe here?
Lumber control quantities.
Yes, no, or maybe? Maybe?
No.
Do they talk about controlled quantities? No. They're like, okay, guys, federal government says stop the chopping. You know what? We gotta, stick to the rules. Stop the chop. No, I don't think so. Next one.
Monkeys of their own species.
Did I mention anything of species while explaining this?
Yeah, definitely.
I didn't realize it. These are not like, okay, guys, let's make sure we plant the same trees that we chop. So let's go over to Home Depot and get the right seeds before we chop another tree. No. Okay, that's not correct. Next one. They don't talk about tree species at all here. That's why I'm enacting how ridiculous that is. Okay, next one. Read the next one.
Cultivated in specialized way for specific purposes.
Sounds pretty good. Okay.
Held only as they are needed.
Spelled only as needed almost sounds exactly the same as answer A, right? Spelled only as needed is like, hey guys, let's like protect the trees because like you're protecting Mother Nature, and like otherwise, you know, you're like hurting Mother Nature, so like don't cut if you don't need to. Okay, that's what answer D is saying. And these guys were cavemen. This was 6,000 years ago. They didn't know anything about environmental protection. Okay, these are like, and chop, right? And they just chopped a tree. That's what they did. They didn't have a language. There was no writing, nothing of that sort. This answer was cultivated in specific ways for specific purposes. Answer C, okay? So did everybody see that, or did some of you guys choose like A or D or something like that? Okay, good, okay. Because I was going to tell you, the only people who are like that are tree huggers. You know what a tree hugger is?
Yes.
Tree huggers. I'm going to give you an example. Like UC Berkeley a few years ago had these trees on campus that they were going to chop to build new buildings for the campus. And there were these people who are non-students, and they were like, dude, UC Berkeley, you shouldn't cut down the trees because like you're hurting Mother Nature. So they like basically they did more than hug the trees. They climbed up into the trees and stayed there for 21 months. They stayed in the trees for 21 months.
What did it smell?
So what happens was they would get their food by sending a bucket all the way up there. And if these people had to use the bathroom, they would send a bucket up there so they could use the bathroom, and they'd bring it down. At UC Berkeley. And that's how they did it. They stayed in the trees for 21 months to prevent the university from cutting it down. That's tree hugging.
When did this happen?
You mean 21 days?
No, it's 21 months.
That's wow.
Yeah. It's crazy. You can look it up on Google.
Is the tree still there?
I don't know, because they finally got so hungry and tired they came down. Well, they did. You can't be a hugger unless you're truly. You can't be like a true tree hugger unless you're like devoted to trees. This is about 7 or 8 years ago. 7 or 8 years ago. So, okay, enough of the humor there. You guys got that. Let's turn the page here, and let's talk a little bit about inference questions. Inference questions are very, very tricky. Why? Inference questions are offering you a suggestion or a conclusion or an assumption that the author may most likely agree with. The phrasing of these questions is relatively unstable because it says the author would most likely agree, or the author would probably agree, or the author might agree. You feel that kind of like unstable, unsure type of language right here, right? Victor, can you read this question for us? You know which one we're on?
The author probably believes that.
Okay, so it's probably believes. Do you guys see that? Most likely, probably, might, okay? They didn't give us a page, not a page, but a paragraph number or a line number or a specific phrase. When they don't do that, then you gotta go straight to the answer choices and you gotta say yes, no, or maybe here. Let's start over with Zoe. Read answer A first and tell us yes, no, or maybe.
All the neoclassic society with technology capable of building everything on spacecraft.
Can you say that again?
All the neoclassic.
Catholic? They had Catholics back then?
All the Neolithic societies are technologically capable of building a road like all the street track.
Okay, what do you think of that?
No.
I would. What's your opinions for why it's a no? Kiko, was it a no?
Was it not all of it?
Correct.
Because it wasn't like it was only a certain group.
This author thought that only the sweet track community was advanced, not all the neo-Catholics. Somebody caught the joke. It's a joke. It's a joke.
Yeah, I know.
Neolithic.
Yeah, they're Catholic.
Okay. Not all the neo-Catholics. Okay, Donna, answer B. Read that for us. Okay, yes, no, or maybe there. Tell us why that's a no. Okay, she said no, but she needs a reason. Can somebody help us out and tell us why it's a no? Jack?
Are we talking about A?
No, we're done with the neo-Catholics.
Oh, we're on B then?
We're on B.
The only is,
Did you even know, or you just raised your hand? Okay, let's go to someone who knows why B is not true. No, you didn't. Okay, yes, Zoe. Yes, they're experts in many other things. Thank you. And thank you for rolling with the jokes. Okay, good. Victor, C. What do you think? No, they were not tree huggers. Okay, next one. Next one, James.
Those that the state have not have been built by societies without high level social organization.
That's probably the strongest answer. This answer D says could not have been built without social organization. It doesn't say only social organization, and it doesn't exclude technology. It doesn't exclude woodland management. It just says this probably couldn't have been built without it. And so that is a very strong answer there. You guys see that? It's not an answer that is too narrow or too broad, but it's open-ended. You guys see that? Is that a question, Delaney? Okay. Okay, good. Good answers there. Let's go to the next page, which deals with vocabulary and context. So vocabulary and context typically identifies one word or one phrase. And they're easy to spot because what happens is usually the answer choices are either one word or else a definition for the word. The wording of this question usually asks you to identify the meaning of this word here. Jack, you want to read this one for us?
The author's reference to peat bog as acidic in line 9 primarily shares to.
So it's telling us to go to line 9 and it tells us to, or it's asking us to find out what does acidic peat bog deal with. Okay. Before we talk about answer choices, let's find out what they're talking about in here.
So what is peat bog?
Well, if you go back to line 9, you might know.
Wow, but it still
It's kind of like that. It's basically like plant life that covered it. Peat is often sold at Home Depot, where people put that over the dirt or the soil at home. Okay, can someone tell me what's important about that sentence? Anybody? Jack? You just raised your hand. Okay. Zoe? Okay, how it protected it. Okay, good. All right, good. And then Delaney, what did you want to say?
Wait, sorry.
You just raise your hand for the heck of it?
No, oh.
Throw your hands in the air and act like you just don't care.
Yeah. Oh.
Share that for the chat.
Oh, you have to think about that. Throw your hands in the air and act like you just don't care.
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
I actually have an answer. It should actually help you memorize.
Okay, so what Zoe said, I want to stick with what she said. She said it helps protect the sweet track from corrosion. So Zoe, can you read these answers and give us yes, no, or maybe here?
No.
Tell us why it's a no. Is modern pollution ever mentioned here?
No.
Okay, then that's out. Okay, continue.
The size of the sea tracks is constructed of non-corrosive materials.
No.
Do you guys know what non-corrosive materials are?
Not dangerous.
Like plastic. Like, you know how Safeway no longer has plastic bags? It's because a lot of politicians have said plastic is non-corrosive. Even if you put it into a landfill, it's never gonna, deteriorate. It's still gonna be plastic there.
What
Okay.
about cigarettes? Do you think like 10
Okay.
years?
So next one here, Zoe.
She's on TV.
Between the effects of acidic and basic conditions on ancient ruins.
Do they even talk about ancient ruins?
No.
No. Okay. Okay. And then read the last one here.
Suggests that acidic conditions are important in minerals decay.
Yeah, that's what they were saying. It inhibited decay. Okay, that's our best answer. Okay, good. Let's take a little break for now, and then really brief break, less than 5 minutes, but we'll continue with verbal after this. this. Let's turn. So, all right, so we're going to get back into the lesson here, okay? And so we just got done with reading comprehension. A couple weeks ago, we talked about the verbal section of the SSAT and the HSPT. And so when we do these, a lot of times it takes either you have a really broad vocabulary or else you're able to figure out the meaning of some words. In the HSPT, after the reading section, there's also a synonym section where you have to identify the meanings of words. So on this page here, on page 51, we're talking about building vocabulary and the different techniques. And they give us a word here, incandescent.
I forgot.
How many people know what incandescent means? Incandescent. So it's not a familiar word to a lot of us? Good. That means we can talk about this. There are various techniques we have. Phonetic means basically how a word sounds. Parts of speech, identifying it as a noun, an adjective, an adverb, or a verb, right? You can also use prefixes, suffixes, and roots. So there's a couple other techniques such as foreign language equivalents. Some of us are taking Spanish or French or Latin. That helps out. Let's write that in there, foreign language equivalent. And then,
Sur le coup de pied at Victor.
okay, and then foreign language equivalents. And then another one is context, okay? Write those things in there because context and foreign language equivalents are not in there.
Where's that?
They're not on there. You have to write it down. Foreign language and context. Context is perhaps one of the most important ones because when you think of a word, you usually think of how you heard it or used it yourself or how you identify it. Most people do not memorize definitions from a dictionary unless you're like a robot. The definition of this is, according to Merriam-Webster, it is that nobody does that, okay? And if you ever make, how many of you guys promise your parents, I'm going to memorize words straight out of a dictionary?
I tried to do that for the district.
How far did you get? Aardvark? Did you get past Aardvark?
What letter did you get through?
Still letter A.
Like B or something.
You got through all the letters and all the words.
No, but I didn't memorize it.
Okay, so it's pretty difficult to do that, okay?
Yeah.
You know what I'm going to tell you? The last two I said were foreign language, and then I said context. Context is very much related to word charge and word groups. Word charge is it positive or negative word? And word groups, perhaps one of the most important, is how do we associate that word with others? Because we think in a matter of association. If I said the word peaceful, what are some other words that associate with peaceful?
Serenity.
Serenity.
Tranquil.
Tranquil. Good. Anybody else?
She's
That's pretty good. How about Pacific? Did you guys know that's what I mean? Pacify.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Like maybe getting on my
Placid.
Is that
Placid.
why you use pacify?
Yes, to keep them quiet.
Oh.
Some people need pacifiers even as adults.
I didn't realize that.
And then there are other words like this. What I'm trying to teach you guys is that when you group words together and associate, you're thinking more like a thesaurus. It's better to think like a thesaurus than to think like a dictionary. Because if you said to yourself, I'm going to learn 10 words a day, and you just learn one word, one definition. Second word, second definition. And you just do that for 10 words, that's just 10 words. But if you think of one word and write 4 synonyms, you've learned 5 words, right? So if you just did 10 words and then 4 synonyms each, you've learned a total of 50 words, right? That's more useful, okay? Think like a thesaurus, not like a dictionary, okay? I'm not saying you have to learn 50 words a day. Some of these you know already, but it solidifies the meaning, and you're really saying to yourself, hey, I'm adding to it, and I can think of it, because we think by association more than we do by definition, okay? Unless you go to Best Buy, get that SD card, plug in the back of your head, okay? So most likely we don't. With incandescent, could we break this word down?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this. With incandescent, I'm going to write it up here. which part is the prefix here?
In.
In, okay.
Can.
Okay, what is the root?
Can.
It starts with the can because this is your prefix. Right? But how far does it go with can?
Can.
Like
So it can go up to what?
Candies.
Does it go up to N, D, or E? I'll give you a clue on that. Include D or
E.
exclude? Include. Let's take a vote.
Candy set.
Include the D. Include the D and the E. Just after the N. No vote at all. Looks like no vote at all.
wait.
I'm going to tell you, it ends between the D and the E.
Yeah,
You can't even vote. What are you talking about? You guys are like Kaepernick. He has something to say, but never voted. All right.
Talk about.
He didn't even vote. Don't worry about it. Okay. Okay, let's continue here for a second here. Let's talk about what is the meaning of in. In. Going in, okay? So enter.
Going in.
Enter. Okay. Anything else? Inside, yeah.
Inside. Opposite of including.
Okay, include, could be including. And then anything else? A common meaning of in might be not also. Okay. Not. All right. So that's another one. All right. So what about canned?
Candle.
Candle. So that's a word you can associate. Candle. Candy. Okay. Candid. Okay.
Canada.
Canada. A. Have you ever asked a Canadian to spell Canada? Do you know how they spell it? They go CANADA.
Oh.
If you don't know,
They spell
the Canadians say A after everything. That's why.
Which doesn't say garden.
Okay. So let's go back to this for a second. Other words that have canned in it. We said candid. Any others?
Candidate.
How many? Candidate? Candidate? Okay. Candor. What's candor?
The house in the.
It's a what? No. What else? You're thinking condor. You're thinking, okay. Condor or condo. Okay, so let's go with this. What does, I'm going to go right in the middle. What does candid mean?
It's like a characteristic.
It is, but what does it mean?
Smart, witty, I think.
I'll use it in a sentence. When people speak candidly, they don't cover up what they say. They speak naturally. They're uninhibited. Zoe? Truthful, transparent. That's what it means. Transparent. Very transparently. They're not covering it up. They're not sugarcoating or anything like that. That's what candid is. What is candor? Not condor. Candor means being frank, being straightforward. They spoke with much candor, so they're being very straightforward. Candidate. What kind of affiliation does it have with this? It's a person who is like up for election, or it could be a person who is being reviewed for a job, or it could be, so either way,
Some kind of choice of person.
they're putting themselves up for judgment, for they're putting them up for review. So they're trying to be as transparent about themselves as possible, okay? So all of these things have to do with being transparent, being straightforward, okay? What is essent? What did you say? Essential, okay? Essential. Right. What is an essence itself? Right.
Smelling.
You're thinking of the store, but not really. Okay. Was
Like
that?
a breeze.
Yes. So.
Write it.
So essence means
Yeah.
Everyone knows
Not
what
because
Febreze
it's
is.
rhymes, but
present.
like, kind of, yeah.
What do you mean by present?
No,
Like now?
No.
Like gift?
No, not gift, but like, never mind.
Okay, so essence and essential means fundamentals, the basics, okay? I'm going to just say this. If you're going to study prefixes, suffixes, and roots, suffixes are probably the least important. The roots and the prefixes are far more important. So, has anybody seen this word in context, incandescent? Nobody has seen this in
I think so.
I probably said this right over it. And
Okay, you're just kind of
I
most likely if you go to a store like Target or Home Depot and you see light bulbs, incandescent light bulbs. You won the lottery, yes! Yes! Okay, no, but incandescent light bulbs, okay. Incandescent light bulbs, what do you guys think that means now that you've broken this down? Okay. I would say it's light from within. You see the light from within. It's what you see is candid. It's straightforward. It's
But
what
like,
you
how are you
see.
supposed to like figure that out by looking at the
Well, you got to think of something that if it's transparent, you can see through it inside. That's it. That's the only gist you can get out of that word. Breaking it down like that, okay? Breaking down words is just one way that you can get a general meaning. It's not going to give you a literal, straightforward. Some words you can, some words you can't. But we're just going through a technique to do that.
We have this much time on the test to do that, though.
No, but we're going through a discussion right now just to see what kind of thought process we would go through. Of course, you're not going to have 15 people in a room where you're going to be doing that, okay? So let's do this. With the limited time that we have, I want to talk a little bit about roots on the next page. And there are a lot of words, if you know the root, it helps a lot in breaking down the meaning of it. And so in this exercise, we have several roots that we're going to talk about. The first one is dealing with words, common words like quest, question, and query. The roots of them are very similar, quest, query, quiz. What do you guys think that root means? What does it mean? Catherine says ask. That works. To ask or to seek. A quest is a search, right? To seek or to search, to ask. Those all work. Okay, so what do you guys think? So I would write that down, guys. For quest, query, quiz, I would write to seek or to ask. Let's write that down. Right next to those roots, okay? I encourage you guys to write these things down because the more you write down, the more you'll remember. I'm going to tell you guys that nowadays that we have everything on our phones and it's a tap away, a swipe, or whatever you do, we get lazy when it comes to taking notes. But I'm going to tell you that no matter how advanced our technology is, our memory skills are still the same as people who existed before all computers existed, okay? And I would actually say those people had better memory skills than people today. Because back then, people memorized every phone number they knew. Now you're just like, oh, okay, this is person, click, and then dial, right? That's all you do.
I use Siri.
Right? Or you're like, call mom.
Siri, call mom.
That's it, right? But what I'm trying to tell you is that when we don't, memory is like a muscle, but if you don't exercise it, it just kind of, it doesn't develop. It doesn't die, but it doesn't develop, okay? So what I'm trying to say is writing things down is part of a memory skill, building memory, okay? So quest, query, quiz means to ask, to seek. Who wants to tell me what the definitions of inquest and inquire are? Who wants to tell me that? Anyone? Inquest. Jason, what do you think?
Seek within.
Seek within. I like that a lot. That's very good. Seek within. Okay, what about inquire? Zoe? To request, yeah, to request or ask, right? I inquired about the job. I asked about it, right? So the next part, we're at the next part already. Subscribe and manuscript. You guys have probably seen subscribe a lot on YouTube. Like, dude, if you really like my video, push on this link and then subscribe. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so what does subscribe? Thank you very much, Sydney. Turn off the notification. Exactly. So most people want to turn that off instead of subscribing. What does subscribe mean? Follow. Correct. Okay, what's manuscript? What? Manuscript. Okay, I'm gonna tell you because you guys are all like, dude, all I do is on my phone, like swipe or tap. It's like, okay, back in the old days when we used pencils and paper, everything was written. It was called manuscript. Okay, that's like an older person, right? We wrote in manuscript back in the days when we wrote on paper. Okay, yes. Yes? Handwritten. Manu means hand. In Spanish, the word for hand is mano. Okay? It's hand. Okay? So that's what that is. Okay? So if you actually, you'll know this. If you go to the bathroom, you see the sign that says wash your hands. In Spanish, it's lavar sus manos.
Whoa.
Yeah, okay. That means wash your hands. Okay. I just said it in Spanish. Okay. I am multilingual. Yes.
You are?
Of course. You heard my British accent. You heard my redneck accent. You heard my. Anyway, let's continue. I did my redneck earlier, but anyways, let's continue. Let's continue. What is the script? Scrib. What do you guys think that means?
Squid. No.
What does this mean? Scrib. What does it mean? It means to write. Okay. In this day and age, you guys don't do a lot of writing. You guys are clicking and tapping. Okay. What is to circumscribe?
To go around the writer.
It means to draw a circle, actually. That's what it means. To circumscribe is to draw a circle. Or you could be writing in a circle, like in a design fashion. Okay. Proscribe. What do you think that is? Proscribe.
A pro-writer? You're a pro-writer.
Proscribe means to speak against.
What?
Like,
how do you know that? No, like how do you determine that?
Proscribe is like prohibit, to speak against. Okay. Using words against. Scribe is words against. I know. It's actually a declamation. It's speaking against. Okay, declamation. Let's go to the next one. Verdict. Verify. What do you guys think ver means?
The jury
A verdict, reached a verdict. Victor, what does that mean when a jury reaches a decision, right? What is ver, Zoe? I'm sorry? For ver, close. You're very close, very, very close on that. Anybody else want to chime in? It means truth. Ver is truth, okay? The Latin phrase is veritas. Have you guys ever heard that? Veritas is actually the motto of Harvard, and that's my alma mater. So that's how I know that one. So let's continue. What is verisimilitude?
Never heard.
I always thought there wasn't an I.
Verisimilitude. We know that ver means truth. And then what is similitude?
How should we know?
What does it sound like? This is the phonetic. Similar. Thank you, Kiko. So this means similar to the truth. Verisimilitude, similar to the truth. Okay? And then verity. What do you guys think verity is? Kind of, but not really. Some people would measure confidence or belief in something that has high verity. If it has high verity, then you have confidence. Okay? Let me give you a similarity. If I said, this bottled water has a 99% purity, okay? Is that what it says there, Mia, on the bottled water? They usually have that on that brand.
It's not.
It does not? It's like, usually they have purity, so it's a degree of purity. So this is degree of truth. Verity would be, even if the police use a lie detector, they know that the lie detector only has a verity of 70%. Okay, so it's a degree of truth. I need you guys to listen up because you guys aren't even hearing some of the stuff I said. How many of you guys remember what veritas means? Truth. What is it known? What university uses veritas? Harvard. Good. Okay. Some people are listening. Some people are not. Okay. Let's continue here. On the next page, I know you guys are ready to chit chat and talk, but let's do this. On page 53, talk with the person next to you, and I want you guys to write down your definitions for these prefixes so you can talk amongst yourselves right now. Okay?
Wait, what are we talking about?
So let's continue here. Okay, that's a little bit nicer now with the shades down, but okay, good. Let's talk about these things. Let's start over here. Jason, what's pro? What's pro?
I feel like or something.
It means for or promoting something, right? It's for, like you've heard pro and con. Jack, what's post?
Before.
Not really before.
After.
Here, Catherine, yes, it's after. Delaney, what is pre?
Before.
That's before.
I think.
Catherine, what's ill?
What?
Not. Okay. Sydney, what's im? Okay. And then Mia, what's im?
I do not know.
Cindy.
I do not know. Wait, in?
I am.
Come to the middle of?
It means not. Like impossible. Immature is not mature. Okay. Not. Okay. Let's go to Akiko. What is inter?
In the middle.
It means, yeah, in between or in the middle. International, intersection, okay. What is non, Victor? Victor, what's non?
It's like.
Did you get non, Victor? Nothing? Non means what, James? Nothing? You guys didn't get there?
Not.
It means not. It means not. Okay, Zoe, next one. Re. Again.
That's exactly.
Okay. And then Donna, un. Reverse. Yes. Let's go back to Jason. What is miss? To do wrong? Okay, that works. Okay. Good job, guys. Talk amongst yourselves and figure out the suffixes. Okay. Okay, so let's get to these. Obviously, we are at a point of getting chatty, so let's talk about ology. Let's go with Jack. What's ology?
Study of.
Correct. Let's go to Catherine. Full. Full of. Okay. Delaney. Able.
Oh.
Able to, capable of. Okay, Mia, next one, and or. Okay, Sydney, or. Okay, so Cindy, and or.
It is something.
Something.
It's like,
Akiko, yeah, it's a person who does. Person who does. Okay, organizer organizes. Is a doer, yes. James, full of. Okay, let's go with what's less, James? Without. Okay, what about Ness, Victor? It's this. It's not really just to have. Yeah, Zoe. The what? State of. Yeah, I like that. State of. It changes an adjective, happy, into happiness with a state of. Yeah. You want to do the next one with Lee? Yes. It describes a what? Dramatication?
Yeah.
I don't know what that word means, but dramatization, but slow to slowly changes an adjective into an adverb and tells you how. Okay? It tells you how. What about us? What would you say with this one? Donna? Yeah, it turns a noun, bulb, into an adjective, miracle into an adjective. It tells you, it's a descriptive, way of changing a noun into an adjective. Shape of or miraculous, it's like similar to. That's what us means, similar to. How about shun? What would we say for this one? It changes a verb into a noun. So this one is the state, it's a state of. Rejection is the state of being rejected. Appreciation is a state of appreciation. Yeah, it's a state of. What's ism? Ism is a way or a thought, okay? Because, yeah, that's a good example. Some of them are religions like Protestantism, Judaism, Catholicism, Hinduism, Buddhism. But then Jason brought up other things that has nothing to do with religion. Yes. Belief or way, yes. So that's good. All right, I'm going to speed through the next couple pages, but let's turn to the next one. And what I want to get into here, because we only have a few minutes, is word charge. What I want to talk about here is that some words are positive, some are negative, and some are neutral, and some are more than one. Some of them are positive and negative. Some of them are neutral and negative. Some are neutral and positive. I'm not going to do page 55. I'm going to do page 56 here. And what I want you guys to do for a minute is circle whether these words are positive, negative, or neutral. Some of these words, I'm going to tell you guys, that one, we're not going to do that. You guys can do that one for practice, but what I'm going to tell you is that some of these words have more than one connotation. And what I'm going to tell you is some words are, when they are adjectives, they might be positive or negative, but as a noun, it might be just a neutral word. So that's what we're going to talk about right there. Do this for a minute.
Cute.
Okay, so let's talk about these words here for a second. Ingenuity. Positive, negative, or neutral? Zoe, what does it mean? Ingenuity means what? Means wise? Not really wise, it's more creative, ingenious. Ingenuity is like, oh my gosh, he comes up with his own way to do this math equation. He's ingenious, okay? Astute, positive, negative, or neutral? It's positive. It means very sharp, very wise, okay? Astute. Befuddled, positive, negative, or neutral? Negative. It means, befuddled means confused.
But confused is not negative. It could be, it's neutral.
I don't think so.
If you're confused.
I don't want to be befuddled. I
confused good.
don't think it's a good thing.
Bad.
Obtuse. Obtuse.
No.
Obtuse. Jason, what did you get? Positive, negative, or neutral? It's actually, obtuse is negative neutral. As an angle, it is neutral, greater than 90 degrees. But obtuse means clumsy, so that's negative. Vacuous, positive, negative, or neutral? Jack, vacuous. It is negative, but it can also be neutral. It means empty. And if you describe a person like, yeah, both, okay? Because if you described a person as vacuous, you're like, they're empty. That's an insult, okay? But if you said outer space is vacuous, it's not an insult.
No, it's negative. It's negative.
It can be negative or neutral. If you talk about outer space, okay? Profound.
Negative.
Positive. Profound is positive. It's not negative. Okay. Addle. Addle.
Why did Adele cross the road?
Addle
To say
is
hello from the other side.
addle. Addle is negative.
Yeah, you do it. What does that mean?
It means confused. Okay. Competent.
Negative.
Positive. It's positive. Penetrate.
Negative.
Can be negative.
Neutral.
Can be neutral.
Positive.
Can be positive. Oh. Acute.
Neutral.
Okay.
Neutral.
As an angle, it is neutral.
Negative.
Negative if you're in acute pain.
And positive.
It's acute is like intelligent. Okay. So all three. For homework, you guys, this is what you guys are going to do because we're running out of time. The rest of this, do page 55. You can do the rest of 56. And then 57 is just one question, and 58 is two questions. Really easy to do.
Wow.
The meat of your homework is from 59 all the way to 62. Yes. So it's actually 55. 55 to 62. Okay. If you haven't turned in homework from the past 2 weeks, you can turn them in. But that's basically. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, but that's what you should do. So okay. Next week, I know that we had some. We will not have class because the majority of people here are going to Sacred Heart next week, right?
I already did that last
But the
year.
majority of people are going to Sacred Heart. So Saturday next week we're not having class.